Well, we continue then with Sri Vilapa Kusumanjali by Raghunathas Goswami and the nectar commentary of Anantadas Babaji, verse 42. With even the slightest blink from the corners of your eyes, you immediately tie down the king of elephants, Krishna, tightly. When will this person worship those two eyes that defeat the fickleness of the wagtail bird with eyeliner? With even the slightest blink from the corners of your eyes, you immediately tie down the king of elephants, Krishna, tightly. When will this person worship those two eyes that defeat the fickleness of the wagtail bird with eyeliner? Explanation by Anantadas Babaji. Srimat Raghunathas Goswami attains a virtual succession of relishable devotional services to Swamini. The devotees that are fixed in Smarana will also attain these relishable services within their minds. When Smarana becomes deep, it is called dhyana or meditation. This dhyana or nididhyasana is the best means of meeting the Lord face to face. In the Patanjala Darshana, it is written, to fix one's mind on a single object without interruption is called dhyana or meditation. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, this refers to deep meditation or dhruvanushmriti. Shripad Sankaracharya describes this kind of deep meditation, which he calls upasana, as follows in the introduction to his commentary on the Chandogya Upanishad. Upasana means to hold on to a certain object of meditation according to scriptural injunctions and fix the mind on it in such a way that other thoughts cannot interrupt. And Babaji says now, the best way for a devotee to enhance his meditation, to increase his meditation, is to chant the holy name of the Lord in the company of other devotees. The more the devotee's heart gets purified by this practice of Nam Sankirtan, and the goddess of devotion, Bhakti Devi, becomes manifest in the heart, the closer the devotee will get to the kingdom of Dhruvanusmriti. meditation and will be blessed by attaining spotless bliss. In this deep meditation, Shri Das Goswami serves Swamini by ornamenting her. In this verse, he perceives the Kajala Seva, the service of applying eyeliner, praying, when can I worship these eyes that tightly bind the Krishna elephant with even the slightest wink with eyeliner? Within the prayer lies the acquaintance with the mood. Swamini is always victorious over him. Hence, she is known as Jaya Shri. She whose beauty consists of superiority and victory in gambling, joking, water games, love games, and others. Radharani's superiority is evident. For her playful glances are Krishna's only support. She need not make any great movements with her eyes. The slightest movement is enough to tightly bind the Krishna elephant. There is an abundance of her Madana Ras infused in these playful glances. That's why they have so much power over the transcendental, youthful Cupid of Vrindavan. In Purva Rag condition, Krishna tells Radhika's Sakhis, I became absorbed in staring at her spotless face, which is exquisitely sweet, like a lotus flower. In an unseen way, this playful girl has bitten my heart, like a female snake. When an arrow-like glance is fired from her wonderful bow-like eyebrows, Krishna, who is full of transcendental bliss, may even faint of ecstasy. Srila Prabhudananda Saraswati writes in Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, when can I worship that Radhika whose arrow-like glances cause the prince of Raj to faint, his yellow dhoti to fall off, his crown to loosen, and his flute to fall from his hand with ras? Sham is absorbed in relishing the wonderful beauty of your eyes. How beautiful your eyes are. It's written in the Pada Kalpataru. the Creator sat down in solitude to create the pupils of her two eyes, thinking them to be blue lotus flowers. The greedy bumblebees for Krishna constantly run for them. The beauty of Sri Radhika's eyes subdues Sri Krishna, the freely enjoying mad young elephant of Braj, who is otherwise uncontrollable. Krishna is named Hari because he steals everyone's hearts and minds with his extraordinary beauty and sweetness. And he is named Krishna because he is all attractive and all blissful. He can only be controlled by pure, selfless love. And there are different amounts of love different devotees have for him. The amounts are classified in 4 levels. Anu, atomic. Apekshika niyunandika maya, more or less. Mahan, great. And Paramamahan, the greatest love. Ordinary devotees have an atomic amount of prem. Narada Muni and other sages have more or less prem. The Brajvasis have great love, and only Radharani has the greatest love. Krishna is controlled by his devotees according to the amount of love they have for him. And Sri Radhika has the greatest love for him. Therefore, she controls him to the utmost. Madana Mohana, the enchanter of Cupid, is bound tightly by even Swamini's slightest glance, like the king of elephants.
Klinkama Devaya Pushpa Banaya. Right, Gurudev? Yeah.
Can you explain, Gaura?
Yes, Gurudev explained this miracle in the Kama Gayatri. We learn from him that the real meaning of the Kama Gayatri is that this Madan Mohan, who is the enchanter of Cupid, becomes enchanted by a sidelong glance of our Swamini. So we meditate on this when we chant the Kama Gayatri. And how it's explained here that he loses his yellow dhoti, his flute is falling off, even by the slightest glance of her eyes. And he is Madana Mohan, the enchanter of the Cupid. But he starts to faint when Radhika is, even with the slightest glance of her eyes. Pushpa Banaya. This is the meaning of Pushpa Banaya. And then he faints. That's the beauty of this Gayatri. But only the maidservant will chant this Gayatri in this way and meditate on it. And you just read that her Mahabhav is controlling him completely. It depends on the amount of prema one has to Krishna. And she has the utmost. So she is controlling him completely by her beautiful eyes. And it's also explained what you read before, why she is controlling. Because in her eyes is an abundance of her Madana Rasa. This is in her eyes. And it's infused in these playful glances. That's why they have so much power over the transcendental, useful Cupid of Vrindavan. And this Ananga, when he is lose his when he's, is it in English, feign? When he's feigning?
Faint?
Without consciousness, no?
Yeah, faint.
This Ananga, only the Manjaris can bring him out of this. By remember him with sweet words and songs about Radhika's glories. Then he will come back in his consciousness and then Swamini can continue this Leela in the Kunja. Because she is not satisfied when he is, what is it, fainting or feigning?
Fainting.
Fainting, when he is fainting. So this is the explanation actually of this, what we just read. In the way Gurudev is explaining this Kama Gayatri. Right, Gurudev? Is it like this?
Right.
So the Madana Mohan.
Kam Gayatri chanting give intimate relation with Radha and Manjari. And Gopal mantra give opulence.
But there is nobody explaining this Kam Gayatri like the Manjari is explaining it, right?
Right. 24 half syllable. 12 is Radhika, 12 is Krishna, and half is Manjari.
When Krishna returns to his village in the afternoon, this lila is called Uttara Koshta. Swamini stands on her moon tower to discreetly admire his beauty from a distance. Burning in the fire of separation from Krishna, and considering each second that she is separated from him to last like a millennium. Her girlfriends show her, as in the Gita Govindam, "Oh, beautiful girl, look, Vanamali," Krishna, who wears a garland of forest flowers, has come. Our hero does not look up. So Swamini, her heart filled with tremendous anguish of love and separation, stares fully at him, drinking the boundless nectar of his form with the cups of her eyes. How many hundreds of emotions she reveals. The forest fire of separation that burned in her heart was extinguished simply by seeing Shama Sundar. This time, though, Shama Sundar looks back at her, and both the lovers become shy. Shri Radhika pulls her veil straight and goes away. Then she stops and turns around again, thinking, "Before I go, I have to see him once more," and casts a slight glance at him. It is a restless, momentary glance because she is very shy. She slightly smiles in a nervous way because she's so happy to see him. Her beautiful glance is anointed with bashfulness and humility. Sham thirsts for that glance of Swamini. Swamini thinks to herself, "I could not give anything to you during our midday pastimes." That's why her sidelong glance is also filled with humility. And she is very glad because she thinks At least one time I could see him. How many things is she telling him through her glances? Her glance is the great medicine that saves the life of Shyam, who also suffers of separation from her. This is the treasure of his meditation. Shyam keeps the sweetness of that glance carved on the slab of his heart. Without receiving this formal worship of her, Shyam could never survive. How many things she told me through this momentary glance, Shyam meditates. During Purva Rag, these glances madden him and keep him awake all night. Although Krishna controls everything and everyone, these momentary glances control even him. Although innumerable gopis are eager for his sweet glance, Krishna eagerly covets Radhika's slightest beautiful glance. He cherishes it, he values it. The slightest gesture of these eyes bewilders Krishna, the king of elephants. The sweetness of these eyes makes him helpless. Tulasi serves Swamini and makes her relish the flowers of the remembrance of these pastimes as well, saying, "Hey Swamini, can this maidservant not worship your eyes that control the Krishna elephant with even the slightest movement? Is such a goddess not offered puja?" The Mahajanas say that this exchange of glances is even more relishable than the intimate pastimes. That's why there is so much worship of Sri Radha's emotional, loving glances. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read, "When I look at Radha's eyes and face in this mood, I feel 1,000,000 times more happiness than when I directly unite with her." When I look at Radha's eyes and face in this mood, I feel 1,000,000 times more happiness than when I directly unite with her. Tulasi says, "I cannot live without worshipping the goddess of your eyes. With what shall I formally worship these eyes of yours? With kajal? It's not actually kajal, eyeliner, but garal, poison, putting Krishna's heart on fire. This is not just puja. This is complete puja sampujiyasyati. Not only your eyes will be worshipped, the prasadi flowers will also stick to Krishna's lips. When Krishna sees this kajal, he will kiss your eyes so that the kajal will stick on his lips. In this way, Krishna gets the leftover flowers of my puja on his lips, and my formal worship is complete. My sampujya. Tulasi puts eyeliner around Kishori Mani's eyes that extend up to her ears. How wonderful is the beauty of these kajal anointed eyes. Shri Vidyapati Thakur sings, two lotus eyes painted with black anjana. They're blinking and playing hide and seek. The Creator has tightly bound and startled Krishna Chakora to the ropes of these black kajal borders. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti writes in Krishna Pavanamrita, seeing Shri Radhika's lotus-like eyes with eyeliner on, it seems as if the enemy of the sun, dense darkness, had thought, in this way the power of the sun will fade. And surrounded by the friends of the sun, the lotus flowers, or the eyes, as the eyeliner. But how amazing! Despite this, the luster of these lotus-like eyes simply continues forever. I'll read again. Seeing Shri Radhika's lotus-like eyes with eyeliner on, it seems as if the enemy of the sun, which is darkness, had thought, in this way the power of the sun will fade. And surrounded the friends of the sun, the lotus flowers, as the eyeliner. But how amazing, despite this, the luster of the lotus-like eyes simply continues forever. So the darkness, which is the eyeliner, surrounds the eyes, and the darkness might think that this blackness would put a shadow on the eyes. But this is impossible because the shining of the lotus-like eyes of Radhika is so clear and strong. While Tulasi tells Swamini all this, she says to her anointed eyes, "O eyes, if you ask me, why are you smearing this black stuff around us? the best of Shri Radhika's senses, while you adorn all her other limbs with gold and pearls, then I will tell you. You don't want anything else but to see Krishna, and you are always eager for that. That's why I adorned you with this blackish kajal that has the same color as Krishna. Krishna Ruchi, the same flavor as Krishna. Suddenly the vision disappears, and Shri Raghunath Das laments, "O Radhe, how wonderful are your glances. They attract everyone's eyes, friends and enemies alike. Even a momentary playful sidelong wink with these sweet eyes is making the king of elephants, Krishna, dizzy. He gets bound up and spins all around your lotus feet, desiring your blissful company. When can I ornament your restless eyes that defeat the fickleness of the wagtail bird with this crushed eyeliner?" And that's the end of the commentary to verse 42. Verse 43. Just to soothe your proud peak, the Prince of Braj places your feet on his head, thus making it even more beautiful with the marks of your footlock. When will I make your feet most splendid with this nectarian footlock? Just to soothe your proud peak, the Prince of Braj places your feet on his head, thus making it even more beautiful with the mark of your footlock. When will I make your feet most splendid with this nectarian footlock? Explanation by Anantadas Babaji. Shri Raghunath's Svarupa Vesh is very vivid. And in this absorption, he prays to Swamini for her devotional service. How wonderful is his savor of these visions. How agitated he is when he loses this consciousness again. Those who have attained perfection have nothing else but experience. And those who are advanced in bhajan also experience some kind of succession of experiences. Otherwise, how could they continue? This succession of transcendental experiences including even their dreams, are the life support of the Premika devotees. Shri Raghunath's Swarupavesh is genuine and not at all false. The sadhakas should first endeavor for these experiences, and afterwards everything becomes natural, as is the case with the devotees who have attained rati. How sweet it is to be with Swamini in the transcendental absorption. The experienced devotee is always immersed in this ras. A great agony awakens in Sri Raghunath's heart when the vision of the previous verse disappears from him, and his heart is floating once again on the waves of anxious prayer that carry him back into the kingdom of Leela. This time, he or she will anoint Shri Radhika's foot soles with lac dye, saying, "Hey Swamini, do you know the greatness of the footlak?" How sweet are these words, even if they are just uttered within the mind. When the Smarana becomes very intense, it is as if one speaks them directly to Swamini. One does not think anymore, I am doing Smarana. This is a visvrti of Sri Raghunath Goswami. Sridas Goswami sees that as Tulasi Manjari, he or she takes a cup of footlak and a brush while sweetly saying, Vrajendra Nandana's head will become more beautiful when it is anointed with your footlak, as he tries to soothe your peak by placing your feet on his head. But that does not make Krishna inferior. It will increase his superiority. I repeat. Vrajendra Nandana's head will become more beautiful when it is anointed with your footlak, as he tries to soothe your peak by placing your feet on his head. But that does not make Krishna inferior. It will increase his superiority. The Goswamis say that Shri Krishna's greatest qualities are that his mind melts with love and that he is controlled by love. This attribute gives life to all other attributes. Shri Radhika is the embodiment of that love. So naturally, she controls Krishna the most. And Krishna's quality of prem vashyata, subjugation by love is manifested to the utmost when he is with her. Everyone wants to reveal his own superiority. When the poet Jayadev was describing in his famous Gita Govindam how Krishna held Radha's feet on his head just to soothe her pique, he could not find the right words to end the Sanskrit verse. While the poet went for his bath, Krishna himself came and wrote the missing syllables down for him in the book. Dehi pada palavam udaram. Give me your generous lotus feet. We meditate on Krishna as he submits himself to Shri Radhika. The lacti from Shri Radha's lotus feet sticks on Krishna's head, and the marks form its decoration. The colorful peacock feather crown cannot make his head as beautiful as this red footlock of Shri Radhika. The Kinkaris know the purpose of this very well. Srila Leela Shuka says, "You are uniquely known as Shiki Pincha Mauli, he who wears a crown of peacock feathers." Why does Krishna wear the peacock feather? Babaji asks. When he enters Vrindavan forest to tend the cows, the peacocks, seeing his fresh monsoon cloud-like luster, dance in ecstasy. Seeing their dancing, Shri Govinda Nataraj, the king of dancers, dances along with them, imitating them by wiggling around on his knees and lifting his hands. When they see this, the peacocks dance in even greater ecstasy, dropping a feather or two. Shri Krishna thinks that the peacocks thus say to him, "O God of love, if fate had given us human bodies, we could have served you with fruits and flowers from the forest. But alas, we are not so fortunate. We are just birds, and everybody loves our feathers." If you would lovingly accept this insignificant offering, then we would be blessed. So Krishna, So Krishna, who gives himself away in exchange for an offering of even a spoon of water and a tulasi leaf, accepted this simple gift of love on his head. Shri Radhika makes the best offering by printing her red footlock on his head with great pride. It is the love with which she does it that increases the beauty of his head, not just the color of the footlock. Transcendence becomes decorated with the color of pure love in this way. Again, Sri Radhika makes the best offering by printing her red footlock on his head with great pride. It is the love with which she does it that increases the beauty of his head, not just the color of the footlock. Transcendence becomes decorated with the color of pure love in this way. So we might ask, in our lives, how can we show our gratitude to God? What can tiny little jivas like us do to thank God? To return to God the gift of creation? It's a common question in Christianity. And Bhakti gives us the clear answer. The only way to thank God, the best way to thank God, is to love God. And by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every devotee has the ability to love God by serving the lover of God, Radharani. So both wonderful that God wants our love, and by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, we are able to give the love. One day, when Sri Radhika was in an independent mood, Shri Hari was anointing her lotus feet with footlock. And he became so attracted to the sweetness of these feet that he held them to his chest, so that the lock that was not yet dry got stuck to his chest. May that red lock on Radha's lotus feet that sticks on Hari's chest more beautifully than even the Shrivatsa mark, the Kaustuba gem, and the goddess of fortune that is praised with eloquent verses by the glow of the rising morning sun that destroys the nocturnal darkness and that perks like blooming red lotus flower in the bluish water of the Yamuna River, protect you. This was a quotation from Alankara Kastuba. And Babaji says, no. In the same way, Manini's footlock increases the beauty of Hari's head. One day, Srimati is angry with Krishna. So Krishna falls at her feet and says, if you won't look at me or speak with me even once, then how can I live? Pacifying her proud anger by placing her feet that are moist with perspiration on his head, thus coloring it with red footlack and making his peacock feather fall off. Krishna is the emperor of the kingdom of Ras. And by holding these feet on his head, he becomes Rasika Shekhara, the crown jewel of relishers. In Radharasa Sudaniti, we read, I praise Hari who is gladdened by a wonderful festival of play, who is the very form of intense and chanting ras, and whose beautiful peacock feather rolls at Sri Radha's feet. Babaji comments, because he forgets everything and becomes absorbed in the Madhurya Ras, Krishna is called Rasa Gana Mohana Murti, the embodiment of thickly condensed flavors. Such ras cannot exist if there is still a fiber of awe and reverence for Krishna as the majestic Lord. Tulasi holds Swamini's feet to her chest and paints the red footlock on them while making her relish the ras of so many leelas. She dries the lock off by blowing on it. Who else but an expert kinkari can render such a service? How beautiful is that red lock? It looks like the king of sunrise taking shelter of her red lotus footsoles to serve them. The sun is, after all, the friend of the lotus flowers. Anuragini Tulasi, admiring the beauty and loveliness of these footsoles, tells the red lock, O red lock, O red footlock, don't be distressed, thinking that you are not qualified to color these coral red footsoles. It's not through a small amount of good fortune that you can attain the shelter of these feet. As a result of taking shelter of these feet, your fortune will simply increase. You will be able even to beautify the curly locks of Shyamasundar. Blessed you are for attaining the shelter of Mahabhava Mai's lotus feet. How many sweet things Tulasi speaks within her mind. Swamini's mind is elsewhere. Her mind is immersed in the ras that was served to her by Tulasi. Then Tulasi attracts her mind by saying, "Hey Swamini, we will feel blessed by seeing you beautify Shama Sundar's crest, his head. This red lock will increase the beauty of his deep, blackish, curly locks." From the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, we can learn the greatness of surrender to Shri Radha's lotus feet. They love Radha more than Krishna. Radha Snehadika. This is the great gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Jiva Goswami laments for those who do not take shelter of Sri Radha's feet in the age of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although they may have taken shelter of Sri Krishna's feet. He says this in the Gopala Champu. A person who may be a king, but who does not serve Lord Hari, a person who may be very generous, but who does not offer anything to Lord Hari, a poet who does not glorify Lord Hari, a person who surrenders to a guru without surrendering to Lord Hari, a person who may be qualified, but who is not dedicated to Lord Hari, a person who may be very sincere, but who does not take shelter of Sri Krishna, and he who does not follow in the footsteps of Sri Radha, Vraja's goddess of fortune, these 7 persons pierce my heart like javelins, like arrows.
Again,
Yes.
again.
This is Jiva Goswami writing in Gopala Champu.
What?
A person who may be a king, but who doesn't serve Lord Hari, a person who may be very generous, but who does not offer anything to Lord Hari, a poet who does not glorify Lord Hari, a person who surrenders to a guru without surrendering to Lord Hari, a person who may be qualified, but who is not dedicated to Lord Hari, a person who may be very sincere, but who does not take shelter of Sri Krishna, and he who does not follow in the footsteps of Sri Radha, Vraja's goddess of fortune, these 7 persons pierce my heart like javelins.
A person who surrenders to a guru without surrendering to Lord Hari. This is what Gurudev is explaining. Guru is not the goal. And so our Jiva Goswami makes it clear. These 7 persons pierced my heart like javelins. Why he makes this point? Why it's not enough to surrender to the guru? And Gurudev is explaining this many times. Guru is the navigator, but he is not the goal. Our Swamini is the goal, and the prema towards her and the service towards her, but not the Guru himself. Radha.
Tulasi is absorbed in Swamini's service, applying her footlock. This service is so attractive that Sri Hari sometimes even takes the risk to enter into Mother Jatila's house to freely engage in it, dressed like a barber girl. Then comes a quote from Prema Bhakti Chandrika, I think. Dressed like a barber girl, Krishna entered the palace where Radha, was sitting holding a mirror in his hands and nail lac in his case. He told her, "Sit down for a pedicure." That humorous, amorous girl sat down, opened her golden box, and filled a clean jug with scented water. And then she began to make Rai's nails as beautiful as the moon with her nail lac. This barber girl, the pedicurist, Krishna the pedicurist, is named Sham, and blissfully wanders around like a puppet of butter. She rubbed and rubbed Rai's feet with footlac and constantly looked whether it was done nicely or not. Holding Rai's feet to her chest, she wrote her name on her foot soles in a wonderful way. The barber girl said, "Oh, fortunate girl, look at your feet and consider if my work is good or bad." Looking carefully, fair-faced Rai said, "Oh, hey, which name have you written there? Introduce yourself to me." The barber girl, the pedicurist, Krishna, said, "Oh, fortunate girl, I am named Sham, and I live in your town." Dvija Chandidasa says, "This is not a barber girl. Go home after you have finished your pedicure job, or after you collected your earrings and having enjoyed your beloved."
Earnings. Right?
Thank you. Yes. Go home after you have finished your pedicure job or after you have collected your earnings, having enjoyed your beloved. And Babaji comments, the service of Prema Mai, Radha, who is full of love for Krishna, the service of Prema Mai's feet is the greatest wealth of the Rasika Raj. Krishna, the king of relishers. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, the Rasika devotees will understand it, but the ignorant will not. While
Yes,
Raghunath,
because of rasa. The ignorant taste no ras. They cannot understand. It's clear, no? Only the Rasika can relish ras. And so they can understand Krishna's feelings. They also taste ras. And this is actually sevaras. And here Krishna also relished sevaras. So he is relishing the ras of the manjaris. And so how much he is enjoying this. The Rasika devotee will understand it, but the ignorant will not. No rasa, no prema. No prema, no rasa. And so it is prema mai that makes rasa relishable. Radha, who is full of love for Krishna. We could also say who is full of love, because she's also full of love for the Manjari. So she is prema mai. And to relish this prema, you need this rasa, and only rasika devotees can relish it.
While Raghunath thus applies the footlack, the vision disappears, and he laments and prays for that devotional service. Srila Rasika Chandradas sings, Krishna rolls at your feet to soothe your turbulent, jealous anger, and dyes his head with your footlack. That makes his head even more beautiful, beyond comparison. When will I apply that lac to your footsoles with my own hands and fill my eyes with its beauty that breaks the pride of all other luster with the rising of its blossoming sweetness? That's the end of the commentary to verse 43 by Anantadas Babaji.
Rasik will understand. Others which needs rasa, they will.
Why they understand and others no understand?
Because they have no juice, or they will understand. They have no desire. They are suffering. They are enjoying in suffering.
Hmm.
They do not want to be juice. Everything is in lotus feet of Radhika, they don't understand. And how Radhika serves from different way to Krishna, how they will understand without Radhika. Then they not say to Hari to worship, they say to me to worship, Guru to worship. They make themselves gold.
Hmm.
What
They are
means
not. Yes.
What does understand mean?
Relishing.
You say they don't understand because they don't relish.
They relish, but material relishment they like more. At the same time, when the dog eats bone, his teeth is giving blood, but he thinks the bone is giving blood. And he relishes that blood. But this blood is not coming from bone, it's coming from his teeth, from his body.
Hmm. So this rasa of the maid servant is only relishable if we accept ourselves as a maid servant. As long as we are in the bodily consciousness, it's impossible to relish this kind of rasa because we are controlled by the gunas. And so lusty desires will arise if we try to do this seva under control of the guna. So we have to enter the spiritual body of a maid servant. Then we can do this service. And then we relish the rasa, sevaras, as a maid servant, out of control of the gunas. Our self and love is controlling this body of the maid servant. This is identical with the soul. This body is not identical with the soul. Actually, the soul has nothing to do with this body. It's only an illusion. So it depends on our relationship. Is rasa there or not? So Guru is giving this spiritual body. We have to develop this body and these feelings, this bhav. Then we can understand rasa. And understand means also the feelings of Krishna, in this case now. Right?
Jai Jai Sri Ram. Jai Jai.